Good evening, good evening, good evening. I am on here with some heavy hitters. And you know what I often say? These aren't just local people, they are national and international. So I truly thank each and every one for coming on tonight. This is Building Economical Wealth Group. It is under the Taylor's Legacies Inc. Building Economical Wealth Group is a group of individuals or businesses who are helping to give back to their community one day at a time, but with vital information to help those families, individuals, and children become self sustainable. We often talk about generational poverty. It's time we start talking about generational wealth and what does that mean? How can we do it? And how do we be helpers of one another? I'm going to let my guest introduce himself. It is Red Robin, and anyone can pop up. Let us know who you are and what you do.
All right, my name is Shantina Gladney, and I am an executive coach working with emerging businesses nationwide. The name of my company is the Entrepreneur Society out of Wisconsin.
I'm Cynthia Jones. My name on company is Divine Women's Foundation, Inc. And we help women with a better life and mentor young girls.
All right, I'm Antoine Miller, and my company is Instant Sales Help, and I work with small business owners to help them do better when it comes to sales and marketing.
That's me. I'm Ricky Jefferson. I'm with Love Credit Solutions. I do credit repair, financial expert, man. I do financial advising to people. I help businesses grow. I help them game plan, figure out their operations. I help people get business credit. I donate a lot of my services to the communities wherever I'm at, whatever city I'm in, and help them get their credit on track. I help teach financial literacy to them as well. And the majority of what I do is voluntarily. I make a lot of good money with the business, so I just give back, man, because I want to see everybody win out here. So that's my main purpose of being on the show today.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I know often we talk about being in business, and for a lot of people, that's scary. Becoming an entrepreneur, stepping out on your own. Sometimes your vision and your money does not align. And I know it was a quote, and I don't know who said it, but I like to make sure I don't take anything from anybody. They say when you tell your friends and your family your vision, they need to think you crazy. That's how you know it's big enough. Because if you tell somebody that and they say, "Oh, that sounds kind of realistic," that means you ain't dreaming enough. When you tell somebody something and they say, "I don't know if that can happen," that's when you show them better than you can tell them. So let's just jump into it. How did you all start? It's great to say, "Hey, I do this. I've been doing this for years." Somebody out there may be listening and saying, "That sounds very good." But I have bills, I have children, and my job seems to be fitting. It's not the amount I want to make, but it's a steady paycheck coming in. So for an individual who's thinking about taking a leap, what would you say? But they're a little concerned about the ups and downs.
For
I
me,
would say, yeah. Oh, go ahead.
For me, starting the daycare, the reason why I started the daycare because they don't pay the teachers nothing. They pay them peanuts, and I'm well educated, so I wanted to be paid for my education, and I wanted to quality care for the children, not just have she got another daycare in Milwaukee. No, Loves and Hugs Learning Center is on their way to 5-star daycare, so that was my reason, and I was just tired of bouncing from daycare to daycare. And it was like, "Oh no, you can't do it." Yes, I can. I opened through the pandemic and been open almost a year. August 20th will be my year. So it can't happen even through the pandemic. You can open because they still coming out. So I would just tell you my holiday dream.
No, thank you. And I was going to say that is a great feat because I know at one point there was a waiting list before the pandemic. Like they had cut off coming out to see people. So for them to come out and you to be open a year through the pandemic, that is definitely a great thing. Anybody else? What made you jump out there and say it's possible?
Yeah, I was going to say that I think that for me, I think it's always been in me, like a gene or something that's just been there where I knew that that I wanted to do something bigger than myself, and then to be able to, do well enough to be able to give back because of where I've come from. And, just going back to, 1986. I don't want to date myself, but somebody say, "Woo, 1986." Well, no, so I was in third grade, and there used to be it was a candy store. It used to be called Henry's. It was across the street from Lee School, Lee Elementary. And
Oh, okay.
I used to, see my friends go there, and they had money to buy these little treats and snacks and whatnot. And I was broke, man. I wasn't doing well. So I had to figure out, like, how do I get my money up enough to get a few quarters to get these snacks and treats? So what I used to do was I would draw a picture of the Bucks logo. Believe it or not, I've been a long time fan of the Milwaukee Bucks, but I used to draw the Bucks logo and I would cut it up and sell it as a puzzle for 25 cents all throughout the elementary school. And I built my little clientele that way. And it was like, ever since then, I knew when you don't have something, you can make something, you can do it. And so it's always been there. My grandfather, my father, they all, dabbled in business. Funny things, raising chinchillas in the middle of the hood, 22nd Center. I mean, just trying to make things happen, but those were the things that just kind of stayed in me. And, it caused me to say, I can do this, I really can. So that's what it was for me.
Did you say in elementary school selling Bucks memorandums?
Yeah, I was.
I knew they was gonna win in 2021.
Hey, I'm just saying at 6. At 6 and 6. Like, come on.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, for me, I know with I'm a third generation entrepreneur. And so all I saw was my granddad. He never worked for anyone. And, for so long, when I used to see my friends' grandfathers and their fathers, they would say, well, they're going to work. I used to think that my granddad, I knew that he was a wealthy Black man in Milwaukee, but I didn't understand how he got his money. I just didn't understand that because I didn't see many entrepreneurs. And so I couldn't really even appreciate the fact that he owned an entire block with a laundromat. He was a pastor. He owned buildings, just all over the city. But my mom, once again, never seen her work for anyone. But she was a beautician. She did hair out of her, out of her home. We didn't ever come home alone. It was, there was that. So when it became time for me to work, and I've been working since I was 12 years old, but I knew it was something different. But I would get in those jobs and I would work them like I owned it because my granddad said that's what you're supposed to do. And he said because eventually you want to take over that company. And so I knew it was something different. And in 2000, I ended up leaving a corporate job that I used to work for one of the largest W-2 agencies as a senior manager. But in between that, I owned a salon. I owned clothing stores. I went around selling clothes. I sold flowers out of the Milwaukee Mall. So it was just within me, and I knew that, and so I couldn't let up. But what took me that whole full leap was to sit up there, and when they told me that I could not pray for my employees when they came to me, I knew that was time to go. When they told me that I could not take off because my daughter was sick, I knew that it was time. So those things, the freedom, when I tell you people think that you fight for the money of it, I fight for the freedom of it. And so that's exactly when I knew that I was a full-fledged entrepreneur and could no longer work for anyone else.
Wow. And just saying, so it was something that you seen growing up. Initially, you didn't even understand what they was doing, but they was bringing home money and being an entrepreneur. But also when you say the freedom of it, and I know, like we said earlier, we often say you go, build somebody else's dream or you go build yours. And a lot of times we'll build in their dreams. And sometimes ours just go off into the midnight. But also being a mother and a parent, there's not too much you'll let pass when it comes to your children. And that makes you push even more. It was times where I probably wanted to give up on a lot of things, but to see my babies and know I wanted to show them something different made me go harder because I knew people were looking at me and these people were looking up to me and I was basically all they had. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you, Ricky. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, my main thing was I've always was hustling, doing the bad things when I was younger. So coming out of prison, the jobs was too slow because the jobs I qualified for, that was very low paying. So I started selling fire sticks. And This when the market, the Fire Sticks was like real hot. This is when the people was paying like $300, $400 for the stuff. So what I did, I just reset the market and started doing it for 100, and I was able to make enough money doing that. Then when I started doing construction work, it got to a point where by the time lunch hour would come, I would miss more money than I would make for 2 or 3 days of construction work. And I'm missing this money, and it would happen on a continuous basis. So I'm getting mad at work, and I'm like, I'm working 10 and 12-hour shifts. I'm stuck here, and I'm making less money than I could be making doing my own thing. And then like the biggest thing for me though was like I realized, because I did all the training, certifications, did everything, I knew I wouldn't grow there. I knew I wouldn't get to be a superintendent or a foreman or anything like that, no matter how qualified I am. So that let me know for one. And I bought a server and I started my own cable company with that. What made me quit my job was when I took it to Homer. He was the first one. I'm like, tell me what you think, man. You think I'll make money with this?
Come on, Homer.
Well, yeah, when Homer was like, yeah, you got something good. It's like everything started taking off for me. And then I start understanding like I needed my credit fixed now. So I need my credit fixed.
Yes.
So, and I got to shout out these two guys, even though I didn't go through them, but I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now without them. One of them is Darvin Moore. That guy, man, he will post stuff every day. Like no matter what I'm doing, he will post stuff and they'd be like, man, I gotta get on my shit. I gotta get on my credit, man. Like every day I would see something from him. Every day. So he pushed me to do that. And Cam with Fast Track Credit Repair, Cameron Summers. My buddy,
yep.
Man, them real good brothers, man. I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't know them, if I wasn't around them, because they constantly push the message, fix your credit, fix your credit, fix your credit, get it together. So I ended up learning it on my own. And I just went like, I put everything into it. Like I would watch videos for like 4, 5, 6, 7 hours in a day. Just keep watching them, reading up on everything. And I fixed my credit first. I went from a 391 and I got my credit up to like a 747. It took me 18 months.
That's good.
I took my buddy I went to high school with. I said, look, man, I'm trying to learn credit. I'm doing mine. I told him, I said, let me do your credit. Man, he took the chance on me. He went from a 400 to a 7-something, and he got a trucking business now where he moving stuff and everything.
Come on now.
So when I started doing that and I started like donating my services and people start spreading the word, like between that and my cable company, it's like, man, I'm not doing nothing else. I started working. I'm like, now I got more time, man, for myself, man, enjoy my life now, because when you constantly on the go and you working, you can't enjoy your life. You can't enjoy your kids. You got to ask, can you go on a vacation? No matter if you got the money or not, you got to ask permission from another grown person. Can you take your kids to do something? You got to ask them, can I go watch my daughter play basketball? Can I go watch a show? Like, I don't want to live like that, and I don't think none of us should have to live like that. So that's why I be so content with trying to help people. And sometimes it's messed up because they don't really realize, man. Like I can come up to somebody like, and I talk to them for a minute. They tell me their story. I'll be like, I'm gonna fix your credit for free. Just send me this information, and they won't even do it. Don't you know? I wish I would have had somebody that would have helped me. You know how many people wish like they could just have somebody help them. You know what I mean? So that's my mission now, man. Basically, that's what helped me quit. And I just like helping people, man. And that's all I'm really about now, helping people, because the money gonna come regardless. I'm not worried about that. Because it's to the point now I'm just trying to leave a legacy out here and help others leave a legacy. Because if I teach you, and you got to do it, especially the women, they're gonna take it home. They're gonna teach all the kids they raising. The man in the house, they're gonna teach everybody in the house. Get y'all stuff together. That's how I go. So that's just, I'm just trying to do my part, man. My little bit that I can do on my own, man, until I can get with a powerful group like, Miss Taylor. She done brought me in, man, and I really appreciate it, man, because I'm around people who got the same like goals that I have. They want to help people, and it's different. I feel like it's more possible now. Like it could be on a whole larger scale now. So I'm just grateful to be here. But that's what made me get into this entrepreneurship, man, and get out of working and stuff like that.
Yeah, thank you. You made a couple tidbits, and I just wanted to make sure for those that are listening, because you said I used to hustle. You got some of those individuals that went in, came out, and to be honest, they're not going to go work for like $7 or $8. They're going to go back to what's familiar because they can't support their family on there. And I always tell that, because I do some different jobs. But I tell a person, if you can hustle, you can do a business, because the
Yep.
mindset of the strategic and organization of it puts you out there, you know. And so I like us to be very transparent about that. A lot of times people will say, oh, you know, they like to be hands off with things of that nature. But I'm glad you said it, because it may be an individual, whether you're a male or female, and you're listening and you're saying, especially when you said at 391, I don't know too many people, if their credit was that, they don't want anybody to know, you know. But to be transparent and let them know, hey, I went from that to a 700 in 18 months. It's doable and it's possible. And then definitely shout out to Darvin and Cameron. Them two of my guys that go hard for the community as well too. So let's just keep on. And the fact that you said you are helping, and when I come back to you, I want you to talk about how you are helping those individuals who are transitioning out from incarceration to get their credit together, so that when they come out, they can have more of a fighting chance. Because when we think about Milwaukee being the #1 place to incarcerate more Black men in the U.S., the recidivism rate and things of that nature, if we can reach them before they come out the door as they're transitioning, and put some things in place for them so that they don't have to go back to recidivism, and then they can become self-sustainable and take whatever they used to do and make it into a legal hustle, I think that's great. So thank you for that as well. And so when I think about this in Shantina, so Shantina started My City, My Biz 12 years ago, y'all, 12 years ago. And it's with over a couple hundred people coming to one space. And I don't know, I just want to be honest, and it's a lot of great people doing great things. So if you listening, don't think this is a shot at anybody, but I don't know if anybody else has anything like My City, My Biz that happens here in Milwaukee. So especially because you got, you know, a plethora of entrepreneurs on here. What does My City, My Biz actually do, and what does that look like for someone who's interested in it?
Most definitely. My City, My Biz is basically for that emerging entrepreneur. It's for that hobbyist. It's for that individual that has started a business. They're sole proprietors. So they do not have the means to get out there and market or to be able to connect with others. So we've been able to really become that connector where we connect them to the community. We also, when we first started out and set out, that's how me and Sequana was able to really become very close. I said, well, you know what? When I got into the business, I didn't think or care less about who the community leaders were, because they never did help me. And so, you know, I didn't understand politics. I didn't understand who the alderperson was. So I tried to bring them together so the city could meet them. And Sequana was really, really integral in making that happen. And so, but we just wanted to make sure that we had a platform for them to be able to get their businesses out there and get connected so that they could fill their calendars for the years coming up. And throughout the year, most of them began to collaborate. Many of them have went into business with each other. Many of them have scaled their businesses up, but they did it their way. They did it during their time. They didn't, you know, feel like they had to go out here and get an LLC or an S Corp. They were able to get totally free services. I donated hundreds and hundreds of countless of hours for coaching with these business owners. But My City, My Biz is basically the connector. And now we call it, it's the Entrepreneurs Reunion for the city. We put on for our city. That's basically
I like
what
that.
I like that.
Yes.
I should have known that. We could have played that little cue put on for My City after you got done talking. Segue to Antoine and then Cynthia. Then I want to make sure I shout out my sponsors, because this wouldn't be possible. Definitely, that is something new for me. So I'm grateful. So Antoine, you talked about before we came in how you do sales and marketing. And a lot of times when a person hears sales, they pause. I know I do, because I'm like, anybody got something they got to do with me selling, pass me right on up. I don't want to do that. So how do we take that and change that narrative when we talk about sales and marketing in reference to financial wealth or entrepreneurship or investing and things of that nature?
Right. I think it's an excitement, because sales really is just it's whatever you're excited about, taking that energy and then transferring it to somebody else, getting them excited about whatever it is you have or whatever you're offering. And, you know, once you get people excited enough, then, you know, it turns into something. It turns into, you know, a sale. It turns into positive energy, more revenue, you know, that type of thing. So I really think that you have to look at selling as though it's something that you're excited about. You're not trying to trick anybody into something, you know, it's just, this is what it is, you know, and this is why you should be excited about it. So I think that's it. The other thing is, you know, it's persuasion. And I think that, you know, people look at that as a dirty word, but A doctor has to be persuasive. A lawyer has to be persuasive. The president has to be persuasive. Everybody is, you have to, in order to get what you want out of life, you have to be convincing. And it's just a matter of what are you trying to get? It's that energy again. You can be negatively persuasive or positively. So I think that once you really start to change the way you look at selling and look at it as though, all of us are selling something, then it becomes a lot easier of a pill to swallow. Shameless plug, the most recent blog post on instantsaleshelp.com/blogs talks about how we're all in sales, how we're all selling something. And so just trying to change the narrative around selling.
Thank you for that. If y'all see me, I'm just going back and forth to see if I catch any questions or comments. And also, I did tag you guys in it. If at some time you can put your information, how a person may contact you, they may have questions as well, too. And so, Cynthia, daycare. I love the babies. I remember having a daycare, too. But in the middle of a pandemic, where most people had to stay at home, you were able to open a business that a lot of times they weren't even getting money. Some daycares where I know they were advocating with the state, because I was on some of them calls to see what was going to happen, because this was the revenue that they used to pay their bills and take care of the babies. And people were not sending their children out, given we were in the middle of a pandemic. So I understand it. But you were able to open a daycare, and just tell us about that process and how does it feel? Because I even know, like I said before, even before the pandemic, I was told there was a 6-month waiting list for some people, or they were making it harder for individuals to open a daycare in Milwaukee.
It's true, because I have an orientation February 6th. I put my application in March 30th. The daycare was open August 20th. So for me, it was just, and then I got laid off July 13th. So that was working. That was my source of income. So all the bills went to my husband. So it was like, okay, let me do the daycare. So I just started setting up, and then I sent my application in, and I just got favored. And it was like less than 90 days for me to open. And then I opened August 20th. I didn't get my first set of kids to October 1st. So, and I went to the daycare every day, advertised, had 2 or 3 open houses, didn't get no kids. October, all of a sudden, like September the 29th, I had like 5 kids on my roster. And then the first day came, and I was full through the whole pandemic. Like, I just now dropping enrollment because some of my parents moved out of town. But we're enrolling. It's hard, but
wow. Make sure you drop that in there too. Someone is probably looking for childcare. And you and Shantina both said it. She said the employer she had told her she couldn't pray for people, and her faith was too much to her. And you just said you have favor. And I'm always respectful for anybody else, but I always tell people I'm a faith giant. Because of what God did for me, He opened doors and opportunities that nobody can shut. And so whenever I meet with entrepreneurs, I try to connect them in whatever way that I can to ensure that maybe, you all didn't know each other. I'm hoping after this, you have a conversation and see how that you can work together. So I often tell people, it don't matter how much I help somebody else, they can't stop my blessing. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? We are all favored and in line to do whatever we need to do. And by helping somebody else, that won't stop you. I've seen people not tell people about grants or monies. And I'm like, I tell people about everything, especially if it's something that I can't obtain. Why would I hold that information from you? That's something that we shouldn't be doing. So now we go click on and take a break really quick and just play the video promotional from our sponsors. Thank you from WFP Media. Thank you from Golden Gates. There was a time, and Shantina knows, just from when I started, I didn't have any sponsors. So to say somebody's actually sponsoring me to talk and get information out to my community, that is a blessing within itself, and I don't take any of that for granted. So let's play the promotional sponsor video. Thank you.
Taylor Legacies wants to thank our sponsors, Reed's Newgate Funeral Home. It's a family-owned business, and they specialize in professionalism, dedication, and they are truly committed to serving each family. Located at 5665 North Titonia Avenue in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 414-358-0538. With compassion and care, they are dedicated to making a difficult time easier.
There should be one more admin. Thank you for that. And once again, just want to give thanks to our sponsors. This is possible because of you. So we talked about, hey, y'all have Aber, y'all stepped out. You have something that's going on 12 years, Shantina. You know, Antoine, you did a difference in sale. Ricky, you took the hustle game and made it legal. Cynthia, you opened a daycare in the middle of a pandemic. How do we speak to those individuals and say, hey, maybe you guys were blessed, you have favor, you have faith, you were lucky, but that don't seem to work for me. That's not happening for me. I've been trying to do it. Let's talk to those individuals who are watching and say, it sounds good, but they didn't tell us about the challenges of being in business. Or sometimes when you have enough to pay your rent or lease somewhere, but you continued on with a smile and helping somebody else. Let's get into those stories and challenges. And anybody can go first. All right, I'm gonna pop out. I thought Cynthia was speaking, so I'm just gonna say Cynthia.
Okay. For me, it was an option not to give up. I didn't have nothing else besides doing my nonprofit. So the city won't give me no block for my nonprofit. So I have to do the daycare to bring revenue in. And then it's just working hard. Like I worked 13 years before I opened my daycare and other people daycares. And getting passed up for supervisor director position because I wasn't being to there. I'm not an ass kisser. Oh, sorry. So I just wasn't bend over backwards. And I knew how I wanted to run my center. The money, yeah, the money nice, but for me, it's the education and quality care for the children in our Black community because that's what we're not getting. Everybody says, "Oh, you got a daycare, but what is you teaching the kids?" Here we learning a second language. I got 2 kids laying down there, and they're ready for it. Like, what we about to do next? But it's just a balance. Like for me, it was balance because I did a lot. Like I have a lot going on, so it's a balance for me. It was just I didn't want to work for nobody. Right. When I got that first taste of freedom, I can take my kids to the doctor without having to bring the doctor's excuse, proving that I was at the doctor. That was it for me. So I'm not going back.
All right. And Ricky, some people were saying, nah, man, I don't know. Ricky used to be into some other stuff. I don't think he about to be fixing my credit. You know, like he may take my money and go up or something. And I ain't gonna see him. So, you know, how did it work? You know, saying, hey, I got a 391 and this is where I came from. How do you get people to understand that road wasn't always easy? You know, 18 months is great for some people, but you got some people that's been trying to work on it for years and they not there.
Well, you know, 18 months, you know, that was me learning with trial and error as well. You know, I could have had my credit fixed way faster if I knew the things I know today. That would have took me no more than 6 months. So it took me like going on the error on my own and messing up my stuff and opening too many accounts and learning about age and utilization and all that. Now I got it down to a system where like I could tell people, like I could look at their credit report and tell them exactly how long it's going to take them to get to where they're trying to get to. The problem with a lot of people is they don't want to invest in themselves, and it's like entrepreneurship. It's an investment within yourself. You have to believe in yourself enough to take the risk and bet on yourself. You also, like when you get your credit fixed, you have to invest your own money into yourself. You know, buy your primary trade lines, and then you might have to get a authorized user one for the time being to get the things that you need to get. But sometimes when you explain these things, like they're not ready to gamble, they're not ready to bet on themselves. It don't matter where you come from, like how, like where you, like this one guy. I don't want to say his name because I ain't answering. My little buddy on the south side, heavy in the streets. I've been on him for the last year. He finally got back to me and he's like, I'm ready. Like, I'm tired of this. I'm ready, man. 43 days. He didn't have no credit score.
Wow.
I said, what is it going to take for me? He said, what is it going to take for me? I want a 700. I'm like, man, you're gonna need some trade lines and stuff, man. I'm like, man, like 1,600, you'll get there. Before he paid that 1,600, put all that stuff on there in 40 days, he had a 743. He got trucks now. He opening trucking business now.
Good.
You see what I'm saying? So
Wow.
he's making all the steps he's got to make to get on up, to get on out of there. But if he never would have bet on himself like that or put it into himself, he'd still be sitting with no credit score, doing the same thing. You got to bet on yourself. Entrepreneurship is never easy. Anybody tell you it's easy, they lying to you. Because especially when you first start, now it's gonna be rough days. You're gonna be like, why the hell did I do this, man? Like,
Right.
but you just gotta. What I learned through my experience, you gotta manifest things. Like I start manifesting stuff. I don't have no negative thoughts in my brain when it comes to my businesses or the money I plan to make or the goals I set. I don't have anything negative. I manifest nothing but good stuff. I manifested in my music, the people I have around me, the things I see, the places I go around. And it always happens. But when I used to be like, damn, man, I can't make that much in a day. You won't. You'll be miserable. You have to believe in yourself. You got to just take the chance, man. Everybody took a chance. Everybody took a chance. Everybody you see they finished product, like they got all these cars, these houses, they all took a chance. When nobody else wanted to take that chance with them or nobody wanted to believe in. They all took that risk. You have to take a risk. It's the same risk you take going to a casino. Put that risk into yourself. You know what I mean?
I know it was.
Go ahead.
No, you can go. No, you can go, Ricky. I was going to say that I know it was something up and it was saying like an iPhone, whatever, was $1,100. And you tell somebody about something for $300 to invest in the business. And they're like, no, that's too high. These type of shoes, and I'm the type of person, if you like it, because I love to travel. So I feel like God made the earth for me to see it. I'm going to see it. And so you get those individuals that say, I may see the benefit of traveling, or maybe they see the benefit of having a smartphone. How do we connect? Because they have to want to do it, but how do we give them that vision and say, hey, just like you said, you needed that smartphone because it did all of these great things. You needed to make sure that you got the credit and you bought stuff, because with that, you can go in and do this, or you can start a cell phone place, or you hear people saying, oh, they charging you too much to fix your credit. And I don't know if you want to put it here, you did put your information, but I know sometimes people say, hey, well, I don't have that amount. I also heard you say that you're helping single mothers and those that are transitioning out from incarceration. So those are individuals and families who really need it. So if y'all really are looking to get your credit together and to change things around, look at Ricky, contact him, let him help you. If you're thinking about doing a daycare, Cynthia said, hey, she opened in the middle of a pandemic, contact her. I'm going to go back to Shantina, and that's one. And so when I think about Shantina, Shantina be gone. So for those individuals that know her or watching her, she's also a coach. So she helped other individuals, and I've seen her help some individuals, to be honest, that other people didn't want to be bothered with. And Shantina say, give them to me. I got them. Because she felt like everybody was worth something. And I love the purest heart that she has. So Shantina, even when you work with so many people and you keep this bright spirit about you, even through their challenges, because it's probably over a couple thousand, 100, I don't know who all within your network, how do you continue to press forward? Because even working with 1 or 10 or 20 people is a lot, but you working with a multitude of people to help them get established. What are days like for you?
Wow. Well, for one thing, excuses doesn't excuse you. And that's just it. I keep that in the back of my mind. And I look at the times where I wish there was some kind of mentor or someone to be able to, to show me the right way to do things, or even just to how to get started. So a lot of it I had to learn on my own. Like Ricky was saying, he went to YouTube. YouTube is one of my best universities, to be able to know how to do things. And because a lot of times things would come to me and they weren't already there. So I had to create those things. And so I look at it as such that everyone has a gift within inside of them. And even sometimes they don't know that. Of course, I do not go ahead and squander. I can't say waste, but I don't squander my time with individuals that do not want it. So I'm not saying that they don't have it to give, because that's, when I became a coach, yes, I invested highly in it. People didn't even know what a coach was at that time. And so when people, I knew they didn't have the money to pay for it, I had to come up with something different. So I became a membership-based company. I was the only coach that was where I had a membership-based, organization. But time after time and time again, no matter, I got sucker punched many times. I'm battling stage 2 cancer, just finished cancer, and receive another report from the doctor just Friday. But you know what? I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up because I know that there are so many people that's not only watching, but we are connected. We connected. And so that's what makes it that much more powerful. We don't just talk about it. We are so serious about reach one, teach one. And when I climb that ladder, you're going to climb it with me. We're not kicking it back down.
Right.
So that's what, I continue to just stand firm on is just excuses doesn't excuse you.
Wow. And you shared it and I wouldn't have said anything, but an individual that has so many under her, national, international, still pushing and going through chemo. And like you said, just got some other news Friday. You can say, hey, now it's time. I'm going to focus on me. It's too many other things to do, but you have still continued to help others get to a point in life where they wanted to get to. And that's the time you could have took and said, let me focus on Shantina right now. Let me love on Shantina. Let Shantina get a little healing. But you say, even with everything that I'm going through, I am a servant at heart. And so we truly thank you for that. And that's what I'm saying, y'all. Like, her heart has always been pure. She always has a smile, regardless of what's going on. I can remember people wanting to come to my city, my biz, and not having monies all the time for vending and not coaching. And her saying, okay, let's work it out. I can see her. She opened it up to youth entrepreneurs to say, hey, they wanted to do this through FEMA. Let them come and get their shot at my city, my biz, because they need to know this. And a lot of times individuals or other businesses to say, you're going to have to figure it out by yourself. I had to do it. It's hard. You got to do it. But she's never been like that. And no one that's on here today is. And I'm truly grateful for that. So thank you again, Shantina. And for Antoine, like we said again, you're in sales. You got a hard pill to pitch to people. And so what do you do to them individuals that say, I'm not good at selling? I ain't finna sell nothing. I can't sell anything. I suck at selling. But I do want to get into investing or do something. How do we help them see that they have that in them? Or even for some people, maybe it's just not their thing, or help them come to it a lot quicker. Maybe your thing is a different set of work.
Right. I think I wanted to kind of go back on something too. When you said earlier, not everybody, is an entrepreneur. And so I never knock people for, having that 9 to 5. But one of the things that can be helpful is if you want to kind of dip your toe in the water, moonlight, do something where you do what you're doing currently, because you're still going to need some kind of money coming in. But figure out a few hours where you can do something part-time, or figure out if you want to start your own business, and do some things with the few hours you do have. So I think all of those things will help people who are kind of skeptical about it feel a little more at ease, because you shouldn't. There is this philosophy where you build your parachute on the way down, but not everybody's comfortable with that. And so I think that just keeping that moonlighting in mind, where you do a full-time job, and then do something else on the side, whether it's your business or working for somebody else, that can be a great gateway into, feeling comfortable with entrepreneurship. And hey, you may find out that it's not for you. You may find out you actually like what you were doing before better than, the grass isn't always greener. So you have to look, because everybody's journey is different, and everybody's going to experience things differently. So that, I wanted to touch on that. And then as far as convincing people to do sales, it's just a matter of, really redefining what you call sales, and that's why I was saying earlier, it's really more, think of selling as like an energy, because when you're excited about something, you can't wait to run and tell somebody about it. It's like spreading the good news. Somebody would have to stop you, tie you down to keep you from spreading that message. And so that's what selling is like. When you have something really, really good and you believe in it, you're excited to tell people about it. And so you don't feel like you're being, tricky or, shifty, or all these things, that all these negative connotations that go with selling, because you're like, they're either going to believe in it or they're going to see their neighbor doing it, because I'm going to sell it to them, so it's just having that confidence and, willingness to get out there and just, try it.
Thank you. So for the marketing and selling that you're doing, and I know, like I said, you probably have prices. What is like the process of just a beginner? And I'll ask you all this. And for Shantina, because you have a membership-based business, you know, what does that look like? Ricky, we know there's a certain amount of money, but that you were doing discounts for individuals signed on during a certain day. And then for Cynthia, it's a lot of paperwork. And then what were the fees for opening the daycare? So I'll just start again with Anton. What is the process like to get into your business, and what does that cost, or what's the minimum?
Right. So for a consumer, so yeah, so really what I do, and that's a great question. So it's all really commission based. So what I like to do is work with people who are starting up. They have something that they want to sell, but they can't afford to go out and hire a full-time salesperson. And, you know, for me, I have confidence in myself, you know, so I always say I can work on commission because I know I can get it done. I'm always interested in people who look for, you know, a base salary, because that tells me that you're looking to rely on money just to come in and you're not willing to hustle. So for me, commission is not a problem. You tell me what it is you're trying to accomplish. We set a number together because it's got to be fair. And then I go out and hunt for you. And if you want to learn how to sell, then I can teach you that too. But it's just really commission based. So it's going to be results driven. You know, if I'm not eating, you're not eating. You know, we're not eating. None of us eating. That's what, you know, in short. So we got to work. We got to work together. So
none of us eating.
Yeah, we not eating. You know, so zero. You know, so. But there's nothing. But what I like to do is really sit down and interview, have a consultation with the individual, and kind of learn about their business, because there are some things I'm not willing to represent. You know, there are some things that run contrary to what, you know, my morals and ethics may be. So I always say, let's have a conversation. And they can go on instantsaleshelp.com, and there's a tab at the top that says, you know, book me. You can schedule. And just pick the time that works for you, and then, you know, we can set up a call, a Zoom, and just go from there.
Thank you. And I know, you know, it's often the same when people say, what do you bring to the table? And I tell them I bring my table to the table. You know, and you have to start thinking about yourself in that right. That I often tell people, then I'll create a role. You know, and a lot of times people say, well, what's your net worth? And I say, you say those things as if you is, because this is what I'm acclimating to, this is what I'm climbing to. And so a lot of times, because a person does not have, and I was there years ago and I was like, Lord, I want to do this, I want to speak, I want to get into this. And I was like, I don't have the money. And because I'm a faith person, I just got to let you God. He said, you never had enough money to do anything I have for you. I always had you. And so sometimes having that faith to know I don't have enough money from the dream and the vision that he has bestowed for me, but that does not mean I'm going to quit doing what I'm doing. So I thank you for that, Antoine. And for Shantina, when you talk about a membership-based plan, what are some of them plans and what does that look like?
Right. And so our company, we went into where I'm totally restructuring it. And that's only because I've been blessed enough to really focus on, when I say make a living while living, life has thrown me to where I had to make sure that whatever it is that I'm doing every single day, it is where I'm able to enjoy life. And so my company is turning more into a lifestyle company where I'm working more with lifestyle professionals. And so the only way that they would be able to go ahead and enter into the Entrepreneur Society is by getting into one of the opportunities that I am now endorsing. So we have two different opportunities, Planet Marketing as well as Juice Plus. Those are the two vehicles that I chose to empower and financially empower and educate people through. And so that's how our membership base is now.
Yeah, thank you for that. And Cynthia, when you talk about opening a daycare, even though, you know, it's the daycare, you think about the fees and the paperwork. If you can remember what was like just the minimum fee, and you said you were open within 90 days. So that was very great for individuals, because I've seen it go longer in making sure that your house was on. But what was the minimum fee to turn in the application, if you can remember? And then where do they go to look at what do they need for the application or to start the process?
Before you do anything, you got to have daycare classes, and you get the first 5 classes for $250, and 4 Seasons on Early Education Station does them. My application fee was $90.75. I actually just moved to another location from the north side to the south side. and they made me pay $90.75 again. And then for the household items that you need, I had put up $8,000. So that's how I was able to buy all of my stuff I need. The biggest thing to get is I think the biggest expense for me was my gate. That was the biggest expense. Everything else you can rummage and find other stuff. But the state application itself is $90.75. And you can go to DCF and you got to pay $25 for the packet and they'll mail it to you. And it's a checklist. You go from and mark everything off. And they tell you word for word what to do.
All right,
And
thank
you
you.
mail everything back in.
Thank you. Definitely didn't mean to cut you out because I know at one time there was the Milwaukee County as well as the state of Wisconsin. Two different type of licensing and checklist as well too. And I know you say $8,000. A lot of that you said was probably that fence. That would definitely throw some people away, but there's a process. Rummaging, maybe somebody else may have something. Maybe you're going to start out, you got some family members who have some individual things that they can give you. And so I think if you're just determined enough, you will make it happen. Some people, have the money to put up. Some people may not. So Ricky, I'm trying to get my credit together. Come to you. I'm asking you, how do I do that? I'm trying to boss up just like you. Let me get to this 700 to 800 club. What do you say? Like, what does that process look like? What are those fees?
Well, I got my website now, so my website is more national based, but Milwaukee, I'm never gonna charge Milwaukee what I charge on the internet because at the end of the day, this is where I'm from, man. It's still home, man,
You going
and
out
I
a
know
little
I
bit
know
or
how.
go up?
You can hear me? You can hear me?
I can hear
Okay.
you now.
At the
Yes.
Yeah, at the
Yes.
end of the day, Milwaukee is still home, man. That's still the hometown, and I want to see everybody do good there. So, really, when I talk to people, man, I give them a free credit analysis and see what's going on with their credit. And like I charge them a cheap price. Let's dispute everything off of there. At one time, I might tell them, give me $125 for that. And then I tell them to save your money now because you're going to need to buy you some primary trade lines and then an authorized user in it about a month after that. So I tell them to save their money. Those that listen, they end up spending no more between their trade lines and their for themselves and their authorized users. They don't end up spending no more than about 1,100, and that can get them to like a high six. Those that want to get like higher than that, they got to put more money into they trade lines. But I tell them right out the gate, what it is, and I make it so cheap that it's cheaper than a pair of Jordans. That's my main thing. I'm gonna repair your credit cheaper than a pair of Jordans. Cheaper than that.
Oh,
And
okay.
I have
I
it now
like that
where
statement.
So what I mean, and I got it now where I start connecting with people around the city who have like retired people or even single moms who got credit
Yep.
cards, been open for years. And I'm teaching them how to turn their credit into cash. I'm calling people. I'm like, man, well, they
Right.
got 150, you gonna add them. They got this, you gonna add them. And they making good money just selling authorized user slots off of their stuff, and they using the money to get themselves out of debt. But like with the credit repair, like I said, it's cheap. Like when you're not taking the initiative to fix your stuff, you're being selfish. That's how I got it. Especially if you have kids, because we all need the credit repair, especially with the pandemic right now. And I think it's gonna be another shutdown about to happen. So people gonna be stuck in the house again, abundance of money coming in their pocket. And if they're not educated enough to know what to do with it, they're gonna blow it again. Because
Mm-hmm.
realistically, everybody should have came out this pandemic that was getting all this stuff better than they went into it.
With a hustle.
Way better. Their
Mm-hmm.
credit should be fixed. I tell everybody, get you one or two LLCs. I recommend every adult get one or two LLCs. Just establish your business credit. I don't care if it take you a year to make it, but just let them sit. Because anytime you want to pull money or establish lines of credit with that, or you might decide tomorrow, I want to do this business venture. You don't have to wait and go do an LLC and wait like all this time for all this stuff. You could just go do it. A lot of people don't know that, and that's what I teach too as well when I do people credit. It's not just me like disputing stuff and just getting your score up. I'm educating you along the way. My clients can call me anytime, talk to me about anything. They ask me questions. I'm gonna help them because once you pay me any money, I'm here. I'm here. You good by me? I'm gonna do what I can until the mission is complete, until you satisfied. So that's just what I do with the credit repair. And then my cable is like that's subscription based, but like I charge people $50 a month for that, but out of that I might profit about 26 with my costs on my server and all that stuff. But that's residual income, and I try to teach people to get businesses like where you can generate money monthly, like on set days, because when you do it like that, man, I don't care what type of financial hit you take or anything, you still gonna have money coming in. And it's not about maximizing what you can get per person. It's about the volume. If you can get 1,000 people to profit off 1,000 people, $7 a month, that's $7,000 you don't profit.
That's right.
Whereas if you telling them same, if you trying to profit $30 instead of $7, you might have about 40 people that actually do it. So that's how I got my stuff going, and I try to get other people to have it going like that too and get them started. Because my goal is I like to see people pass me up. I want to be around people that's all doing better than me. I do not want to be around situations where people looking at me like, oh, you doing great. I like being around people where I'm the little dog. That's what I like. Because it make me want to do better. It make me want to strive harder. Because you'll get content thinking you something you not. And that's when you'll go backwards, because the objective, man, is to profit as much as you can on a daily basis. Don't go in the red. You always should be in the black. That's the goal. I don't care if you profited $57 today. It's better than being in the hole 200.
Right.
That's my philosophy, and that's just what I try to pass on to everybody, and help them realize that, man, because it's not hard. You just got to stop looking at people's finished product and just focus on what you got going right now. When your time comes, it's going to come. Because I had to celebrate a lot of people for a long time.
Yes.
I had to wait a long time. I had to watch friend after friend get business house. I was hanging with business owners. I had business owner friends that I was just watching. They wouldn't teach me nothing. And I'm celebrating everybody wins. And my time finally came. And I tell people, man, you just got to keep the faith, man. Manifest it. Don't give up. Because your time is going to come. As long as you genuinely happy for people, man, and have that good energy, your time is going to come. It's going to come. It's impossible not to. And just, man, manifest it. Have faith. Gotta have that good faith. That's the best advice I can give.
Thank you. And even that concept of saying, hey, I'm charging you less than a pair of Jordans. That's something people can resonate with, because they got to be able to see it. They got to be able to align it with something to understand where their money going to, or they just can't see spending the money, and definitely helping people. I know I often say I don't want to be the top person in my circle. I want to always be escalating and enhancing to be better. So I want to surround myself with bosses and leaders, so that I'm, getting education and get information off of them. And while I'm giving as well too, I don't want to just soak up everything in the room, but I want to be able to give something back. And I think when you do that, and when you think in that concept and pattern, things become different from you. Yeah. So I want to say thank you all for coming on. We coming to the end. If there's something that you can leave somebody with tonight that's watching, they like, I ain't gonna say nothing, but what type of inspiration or words or thoughts, or it can be just as simple as anything. What would you tell that person that wants to jump out here, or that's need their credit fixed, or want to, do entrepreneurship, or thought about sales and failed, or want to open a business, whether it be a daycare or something else? What can we leave them with tonight? And it's popcorn. Anybody can go.
I would just say, don't give up. Never give up.
Don't give up. Thank you. Who's next? Who's next?
Well, no, I think it's just it's really just believing in yourself, believing that you can accomplish what you can't see in the moment. I think that we all have gone through things and gone through struggles, and we've felt that this was it, but it's not it. You don't get to make that call. So you have to keep pushing, and you have to look at people for inspiration. Sometimes you won't have a mother or a father to look at, but you can find Les Brown. You can find Zig Ziglar. You can find Tony Robbins. You can find, you go down the list. You can find a cousin, whoever. You don't even have to tell them you're following them for that reason, but just observe and be inspired, and I think there's something that, goes a long way when you help other people as well, because even though you feel like you're at the bottom, sometimes there are people lower than where you are feeling that way. And so you may think that you're at the bottom, but you may not be. So continue to pull people up. And if they don't see the vision, drag them along, because they'll see it later, but just have that empathy, be genuine and just try your best. That's all you can do. Nobody's asking for anything more.
Wow. And so definitely, I just want to say, never have the mindset of a settler. And so there is a story that I always think about is there was a wealthy man and he went to a wedding. And so he didn't have the gift with him. He said, you know what, I have your gift. And he said, I heard that you wanted a golf club. And so the guy, he ended up going, he said, well, in about 2 weeks, I'll have that golf club for you. And so the driver came, picked the gentleman up. They went up to the spiraling hills. Next thing you know, they ended up, he opened up the door and he said, come on in. He said, I have your golf club. And so the gentleman, he looked around and they handed him the keys and he said, where's the golf club? He said, you're standing on it. He said, over 250,000 acres is yours. This is your golf club. So I just want you to understand and know the difference, not settle. The only things that should be settling is dust, and not even that. So definitely, I always say, stop pressing the snooze buttons on your dreams, but you deserve every single thing that you feel or you dream about. So thank you.
Ooh, don't settle. Okay, great.
I say,
Thank you. That's for Ricky.
Stop procrastinating. Change your mindset and get some goals and execute your goals. Procrastination, like the longer you wait, the longer it's going to take for you to reach your success and everything you want, all your dreams. You got to believe in it and just attack it. Stop procrastinating. Stop procrastinating. I remember my friend, good friend of mine, Donald, before he bought his house, I remember in, 2016, they were telling me, man, let's go fix our credit. Let's go to this home buyer class. Let's go do this. I'm like, man, I ain't doing it. I'm finna go kick it. Man, I looked up, man, and man had his house, and I'm still messed up credit and everything because I procrastinate. Stop procrastinating. That's the best advice I can, man. Stop procrastinating, because you're going to look up, 9 months going to pass by, and you like, damn, I ain't did nothing. I'm in the same boat, and you going to watch everybody else passing you by. You just going to be on the sideline clapping or hating if you're a hater, or you just going to be congratulating your people. And another thing, I need people as well, like if you got family members getting out of prison, so on and stuff like that, connect them to me, man, so I can fix their credit and get them a little boost, man. I'm not going to charge them nothing. I just want to give them a boost. I know what it's like getting out of prison, having that pressure on you, not being able to provide, got to go to menial jobs. I'm trying to get them together while they in there, man, and, even if you got to correspond or something, man, I'm going to try to find a way when I can start going to see brothers, man, because if we can get them like a business plan and they credit good before they get out, they can transition and start really doing some things, because they got nothing but time in there. They can have several business plans. They plan things for their family, and it's just not much in there. They want to teach you how to cook. They want to teach you how to be a janitor. That's mainly what they want to teach us in prison. They give you some little college classes. You're not going to be able to get out and do nothing with it because of your record anyway. So I'm just trying to get them something that they really can use while they're in there, something to really study. Because I done been there, I done been through it, and it's hopeless when you coming out, especially when you got to go to a bad job and then everybody around you messed up too. No, man, we need to get these brothers equipped and ready to come out where they can get the credit card if they need it, where they can, even good jobs now, they want to run your credit. Like, you know what I mean? We got to get these brothers ready so they don't go back. And it'll stop a lot of this domestic violence as well, because they'll feel better in their household. It'll be a lot less tension. They won't feel like they not providing, they not being nothing, man. All this ties in, man, with this financial literacy stuff, man. All of this goes hand in hand. When nobody got no money, it's always anger, it's rage, it's frustration. Look around us every day. Look around you. It's all this shooting, taking people's cars, everything. It's frustration. There's no money around.
That's right.
Would you come teach that?
Huh?
Would you come teach that at the daycare to my parents for literacy?
Man, I've been I'm finishing up a curriculum now. I'm looking to travel and start teaching, going wherever and teaching folks, man. I don't care where it's at, what city, what state. I'm gonna start taking flight going. I've been in contact with a couple people in big cities and stuff like that. As soon as they give me the go ahead, I'm doing the whole tour, wherever. I'm flying there. I'm gonna educate everybody, whatever. Like I'm really serious about this, and I got the freedom to do it. So there's no excuse for me, and it's what I love to do.
Excellent.
Yep, and on my other side, definitely I've been connected with him for some of those just transitioning out of incarceration. So you guys put your thing in here. I want to make sure that you all stay connected, because I do believe this is a bridge of relationship building and business that can continue and go further with all of the great things that you're doing. I said you all were some heavy hitters. Thank you for coming on. Like I said before, this is something I wanted to start and thought about it years ago. The pandemic hit. I didn't want it to stop, so we went virtually to do it. But it is definitely some things in the horizon of bringing like-minded people together. When we talk about buying the block and buying the city, it don't necessarily just equate to houses, but resources for our community. And also, when we think about it, like the Jewish community, they have funding that their community comes to them to help, whether it's with housing or business. We have a lot of great people that do a lot of great things here. And I know, Ricky, you move, but you're usually back too. How can we all come together, to build that platform? Because it's here. We have enough going on, but a lot of times we're not interconnecting, or maybe we are, but then sometimes, once again, it's like, hey, I don't know how mine will align with you. But when we all talk today, just thinking about my city, my biz for Shantina, that's something that all of you guys can go and participate in, as well as somebody else may be looking for that credit repair, that daycare, how to start a daycare, that sales and marketing. So let's make sure that we just continue to connect with each other, be on the horizon. It's some great things coming out. I can't say it publicly yet, but I know that you're going to be a part of it. And we're going to take not just our city by storm, but when it happens, this should be a pilot that can be national and international. We are being the difference and coming from absolutely nothing and making it out. So thank you all for being the best part of Building Economic Wealth Group. You guys patronize them, support them, ask them the questions. They're not on here just because I asked them. They're on here because they want people to have this information. They could have been doing anything else tonight, but they chose to come and help their community and give you some information that other people will charge you thousands for. And they gave it to you for free. All of their services are not free. I want to make sure that I state that. They are business and entrepreneurship. And so we often, if we pay for cell phones and Jordans and going out to eat, we need to invest in others as well as ourselves as well too. Thank you. Have a great night. Love on some people. We're still in the middle of a pandemic. And I often say we are helpers of one another.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you.